Hello, I'm Beth from American Tent, and I'm pleased to be right here with industry legend Pete McVey, who's going to tell us a lot about best uses and safe practices for our tents here from American Tent. So Pete, if you go ahead and start us out, what should people know about weather conditions when setting up their tent and using their tent?
Don't fool with Mother Nature. That's the first rule. Always be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the weather, and lastly, don't ever think that just because today is a beautiful 70-degree day, that tomorrow won't be tornadoes and windstorms and hail. You have to prepare for the worst at all times. So what that means as far as tents go is to do proper staking, to make sure that your tent tops are tight, that any loose fabric is battened down. Make sure that when you leave the tent site and the tent is installed, that everything is secure as if there was a major storm on the horizon.
Right. What about wind? Is there a wind limit? Should we be concerned about specific wind conditions?
Oh, absolutely. Wind can be a friend of a tent guy, and it can be an enemy of a tent guy. On the enemy side of it, wind will do a lot of destruction. Our industry has been blessed with a lot of studies regarding wind, and we've come to the conclusion that right around 38 miles an hour is when you want to discontinue the use of a tent. Now, that doesn't mean that the tent's going to blow down at 38 miles an hour, but it gets you into a safe haven before the wind blows. So the phrase that is commonly used, it's not how hard the wind blows, it's what the wind blows that you need to be aware of.
Great, thank you very much for that. What about snow? We're selling to a lot of northern climates who plan to use the tents for as long as possible. What should we tell them? What would they need to know about snow safety in their tent?
Well, the biggest thing is most tents are not snow load rated. In other words, they will not accept a significant load on the roof of the tent. So what that means is you have two options. Keep the tent heated minimally, say 40 degrees, 24/7. Or you have somebody on watch with a snow rake to rake the snow off of the tent.
Wonderful.
If you keep it heated at 40, it's about 70 or 80 degrees up at the top. It'll keep the snow melting off.
Great.
If you can't afford or don't want to or don't need to heat it, then you're going to be faced with somebody that has to be on snow watch and then just rake the snow off. And when I say rake, no lawn rakes. We're using a snow rake.
Right,
okay?
maybe not the metal tine scraping.
No tine.
Got it.
No
Top
tine.
tip from Pete here. And then what about? I think I know the answer to this, but thunder, lightning conditions.
Absolutely. Treat it as if you are out in the open.
Okay.
Okay. So most events, if you will, like your big rock and roll festival, sporting events, football stadiums, they are generally evacuating their event at 6 miles out for lightning.
Wow, okay.
So anytime you have lightning within your area, whether you're under a tent or out in the open, 6 miles, you need to get to a safe haven.
Great. Another question we've gotten from a few clients, Pete, if they are anticipating heavy winds, is it better to take the sidewalls off, leave them on? Does it make a difference?
It does make a difference. As the wind hits a tent, it will do different things, sidewall on or sidewall off. The safest thing for the integrity of your tent is to let the wind blow through. In other words, take the sidewall off. Now, you can imagine if you have tables set up with china and linens and floral, that's probably not too practical. So the second option is to make sure that everything is tight and that the sidewall is tight to the ground, that it can't flap. That way it'll allow the wind to hit the sidewall and go up over the tent. But in prolonged windstorms, if you can't take the tent down or abandon the tent, sidewall off, let the wind blow through.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much for that, Pete. Anything else we should be concerned about when it comes to weather?
Don't believe your weatherman. Sorry.